This video was inspired by a question that I got from a client. So a couple of months ago, they purchased a D.R. Horton home in a community where D.R. Horton builds every single house in that community. And they also don't get to select any of the interior selections. Like, it is already decided for them by the builder. So their question to me was, what can we do to upgrade and update our house so that when we do want to sell it, however long down the road, we get a little more value out of our house, and then also our house stands out more compared to the competition of other homes that might be for sale at the same time in our neighborhood. And I said, woo, girl, let me give you a list. And I'm going to go through that whole list in this week's video. So stick around. Hey everyone, my name is Danae Hewitt and I am your go-to DFW realtor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. I sell a lot of new construction homes, so I'm pretty well versed in the types of homes that you're getting with different builders here in the Metroplex. And D.R. Horton is one of those builders that I have helped clients purchase a lot of their houses. So I'm very familiar with them and the different levels of their houses, things like that. So it's really important that if you do buy a home from a builder where they build in the entire neighborhood, D.R. Horton's not the only one, all right? You want to make sure that you are updating and doing things to your house to make it stand out. I'm going to go through that list today, and some things might apply to your house. They may not apply to your house, First things first is update your lighting and your faucets. You're going to get builder grade lighting that really isn't in style. Go ahead and start updating those, upgrading those. You can get a lot of these supplies at your local hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's. Start doing that a little out of time. The next thing you can do is you can put hardware on your cabinets. So whether you're putting the handles on there or the knobs on there, just put some hardware on there so that, especially if you have white cabinets, you're not getting your dirty fingers on the cabinets and then you've got to repaint them or keeping them clean and wiping them down. So put some hardware on there. That's going to be a fantastic upgrade. Those are some fairly inexpensive things that you can do, on a weekend, things like that. So if you want to get a little bit more involved and spend a little bit more money, maybe a little bit more elbow grease, or you hire someone to do it, is you're going to be adding some backsplash to your kitchen. If you just have textured walls behind, in your kitchen, then go ahead and add some tile, add some backsplash. That's a huge upgrade and looks really nice in houses. You can also do things like add some crown molding. So you're not going to see really any crown molding in these entry-level homes. So go ahead and add them in your living room, maybe even in the bedrooms. That's just going to really elevate the house and make it stand out from other homes in your area. The next thing to do is to add some recessed lighting. So you might get some recessed lighting, like in your kitchen you will, maybe in your living room you might. It depends on, how much you paid for the house. But generally, you're not getting a ton of recessed lighting. So that is a great value add, because the style right now is not to have a bunch of lamps everywhere. The style is to have a lot of lighting. So if you can add it to your living room, if you have an office, to even the bedrooms, like the primary bedroom, adding, not just having a fan in there, but adding recessed lights in there. If you need to add more lighting in your dining area, maybe your eat-in kitchen, I would say add some recessed lights, because that's really going to help brighten up the home, of course, when people come to see it, but then add some value. All right, now we're going to get into things that maybe are a little bit more expensive than that, and you are probably going to have to hire someone to do it unless you're super handy. Don't want to take that away from you. But I would say replace the carpets with laminate flooring. So you're going to be getting a house where you're probably going to have a laminate or a tile throughout all of the common areas, and the bedrooms are going to be carpeted. All right. I would find out what flooring that your builder used, because it should be in the contract, all of the supplies, all of the materials that they use when you purchased your house. So find out what that flooring is. And if you know you want to do it down the line, you might as well go ahead and purchase it. Okay. So purchase it so you've got it, and replace the carpet with that laminate flooring. This is going to add more value to your house. If a home is completely laminate, no carpet, and also buyers like really love that. They love no carpet. They certainly do. But if you are someone who likes carpeted bedrooms, just because, laminate flooring can get cold or whatever it is, then keep the carpet. Quick disclaimer, I love carpeted bedrooms. Okay. So there's nothing to knock the carpet. I love it. When we built our house, we were like, no, we want carpeted bedrooms. We don't want any laminate in our bedroom. That's just how we are. But if you don't care either way and you want to get more value out of your house, put that laminate flooring in. But just make sure that you are replacing that carpet if you need to. If it gets stained, if the pets get to it, things like that, you may need to go ahead and replace that carpet. This next piece that you can do, it's going to be expensive, but the majority of the time, these builders are pouring the tiniest little slab of concrete and calling that a back porch or a back patio. All right, not going to cut it. They're super tiny, a few feet deep. It's like you can barely put a chair out there, and the chair is going to be in the way of the door that's being opened. So you're going to put an investment in. This is going to cost you some money, but look into extending that concrete and covering it. We are in Texas, all right? It is hot in the summertime, but it's very nice to be able to have a covered patio. You can put a fan in and just be able to be outside is a huge value add, and you don't see a lot of people doing that in the newer construction homes. Now, I also want to make sure that you kind of keep this in mind, is that you don't want to overdo it and do something super huge, especially if nobody else in the neighborhood has really done that. So look at the investment versus what you're going to get out of it. You are going to get a value add out of it for sure. It's never going to be dollar to dollar. Let's just put it that way. But you just want to make sure that you're not what we call over improving for the neighborhood by putting something like too big on the outside. But really think about it. In these houses, these are your entry-level homes. So these builders don't put a lot of emphasis into the backyard space. That's just how it is. So if you can pour an extra slab of concrete to put a grill on, like that's huge, because again, these patios, they are so super tiny that you can barely, a grill and a chair, and like that's it. That's going to stand out to a buyer when they're coming to look at your home when you go and put it on the market. The next thing that you can do is you can add some built-ins. Built-ins are huge. That's how we are styling our houses. That's how we are building our houses right now. We're not buying furniture for storage. People are adding built-ins where they can, all right? So most likely you're not gonna have a fireplace in these types of homes that I'm talking about. If you do have a fireplace, great, but custom build out if you can. Put some cabinets in for like where your TV is going to go. Then you've got cabinet space. If you have, like an Xbox or whatever, your Nintendo, like, I don't know, I'm not a gamer or anything like that, but just a place to put electronics and just, put random stuff that we have, and you can also put some decor pieces kind of inside that nook, but we're not buying furniture pieces to do that. Of course, people still are, you know what I mean? But the style is built-ins. If you don't have any cabinets in your laundry room, go and buy them from Home Depot and get them installed. Add some cabinetry there so all your laundry clutter is hidden. If you don't have what I like to call a head knocker in the bathroom, which is a cabinet above the toilet, so that like head knocker, like if you stand up off the toilet, then you knock your head. Got it? That's what I'm talking about. Go buy those from Home Depot and install that. And that's where you can put cleaning supplies, towels, toilet paper, things like that. But add cabinets where you can. So those are some things that are probably not going to be in your house that you can add to put more value and make your house stand out from the competition. Let's talk about the stuff that is already there that you are changing out. Now, yes, I already talked about the light fixtures and the faucets, but just go with me here for the sake of this video. So let's say you don't like that tile that they did in your primary shower. All right, then change it. Have a tile guy come, or if you can do it yourself, then put some stylized tile in there that you're seeing out there in the market. Go visit model homes, because those homes are beautifully decorated and they're beautifully designed, and the interior features are beautifully selected. And model homes, they follow the trends of houses. So go in there and go see what kind of tile they're using in their showers. And if you want to do that, then rip out whatever tile is there right now and rip it out and put some new stuff in. That's going to be a huge value add. All right, so all of that was on the interior of the house. Let's talk about the exterior, because we know that the exterior is the first impression that buyers are gonna see when they come up to your house. Now, most of the time, like 99% of the time, you're gonna be in an HOA. So all the stuff that I'm saying right now, you have to make sure that you can do it according to your HOA, and that you also get permission to make any changes to the outside of your house from the HOA. All right. The exterior light fixtures that the builders use, okay, no, replace them. So you're probably going to have two on both sides of the garage, and they're probably like super, super tiny. Please, please, please go to your local hardware store and replace those. Okay. Make them bigger, make the lights that they're using brighter, change those out. All right. Now, your front porch light might just be like a flushed light on the very top of the house there. Change that out, okay? If it already drops, that's fantastic. I would get a pendant that drops so that lighting is a little bit more closer to people and to the ground, and stuff like that. That's going to really stand out, because especially if you just have those flush lights up there, like no big deal. So that part, I would just want to caution you that if it is just one of those flush lights, make sure that whatever you are hanging from there, that the bracket is heavy enough for you to hang that new light fixture that you're putting on there, because that flush mount is very light. And if you hang a pendant light from there, then that's obviously going to be heavier. So just make sure you're using a heavy bracket on that. So just a little advice for you there. The next thing is the landscaping. Change out some of that landscaping. You are going to get green bushes in your front yard from a builder. That's it. Add some color. If you're like me, I do not like to replant every year, so I don't buy annuals. I buy perennials that have color. So research where you are, research what plants obviously work better in your area, and pay attention to how much light and how much shade you guys get in your front yard. You want to make sure that you're obviously buying the correct plants, and they need 8 hours of sun, then you have 8 hours of sun, So, but add some color. Oh my gosh, add some color and get rid of all those green bushes. If you make your landscaping stand out, then you are far above anyone else in the neighborhood. So this is something that you might not be able to do, but I love this too. I don't like mulch in my front yard for several reasons. One, it fades, even though it says it doesn't fade for a year. It fades, okay? It fades in less than a year. And I also don't like it because when it rains, guess where the mulch goes? Because it rains down so heavy, boom, 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 it's all in my sidewalk. And then it gets into my grass too. So I don't like mulch. If your HOA allows it, you have to double check that. I would put some gravel, some stone down in the front in your flower beds. It's an investment for sure, but mulch, you're investing every 6 months, every year, and mulch is cheaper for sure. 100% it is, but the rock is going to be a one-time investment that you're going to do in the front. My previous HOA did not allow rock in the front. So you just have to make sure that you are checking and making sure that whatever you do, you're allowed to do. What did I miss? Is there anything else that you can add to or update to your house to make it stand out compared to other homes that are built exactly like yours? I feel like I gave you a good list, or at least a good start of things to think about. But if I did miss anything, let me know in the comments below. And if you're thinking about buying or selling here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, please reach out. I'm happy to help, even if it's just to ask me a bunch of questions and pick my brain. Totally fine with that. And watch this video next. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next week.